Yeah. Book 2, stage 3, lesson 40. Meet. Okay, meet. What are my fingers doing? What are my fingers doing?
Your fingers are meeting.
Okay. Now, when you go to meet somebody, do you always arrive early? When you go to meet somebody, do you always arrive early? No.
When I go to meet somebody, I don't always arrive early.
But sometimes I arrive early. Sometimes I arrive
late.
Do you like meeting people you don't know? Do you like meeting people you don't know?
No, I don't like meeting people I don't know.
Okay. Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, what do you do? When you meet somebody for the first time, what do you do?
When I meet somebody for the first time, I shake hands with them.
Now, bring, take. Okay, bring, take. Carry to somebody. Carry from somebody. Carry here, carry there. Carry to somebody. Carry from somebody. Carry here or carry there. Come with something. Go with something. Okay, come with something and go with something. Come here with something, come here with something means to bring something, okay? And go with something means to take something. Okay? Now, for example, when you come here, you bring your book with you, right? When you come here, you bring your book with you. And when you go there, okay, you take your book with you. When you go there, you take your book with you. When you come to school, you bring your book with you. When you come to school, you bring your book with you. And then when you go home, you take your book with you. When you go home, you take your book with you. Okay? Bring me your book, please. Bring me your book, please. Okay? Now, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm bringing my book to you.
Perfect. And now, take your book to her. Take your book to her. Now, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm taking my book to her.
Perfect. Now, generally speaking, the difference between bring and take is that we use bring when we carry something to somebody who is speaking. Okay, and take when we carry something from somebody. And take when we carry something from somebody who is speaking. For example, you bring your book with you to the school, and whilst after the lesson you take your book home with you. Okay? Generally speaking, the difference between bring and take is that we use bring when we carry something to somebody who is speaking, and take when we carry something from somebody who is speaking. For example, if you bring your book with you to the school, whilst after the lesson you take your book home with you. Okay, so what's the difference between bring and take? What's the difference between bring and take? The difference between bring and take is that we generally use
bring
when we carry
something to somebody who's speaking.
Who is speaking, and take
when we carry somebody from somebody who's speaking.
From somebody who's speaking. Okay. So give me a sentence with bring in it, please. Give me a sentence with bring in it, please. The pupils bring their books with them to school. Now give me a sentence with take in it. Give me a sentence with take in it.
The pupils take their books home
with them
after the lesson.
Okay. Do you bring a pen with you to school? Do you bring a pen with you to school? Yes.
Yes.
I bring a pen
with me to school.
Now, do you take this book home with you after the lesson? Do you take this book home with you after the lesson? No. I don't take that book with me after the lesson. Now, why not? Why not?
Because it is mine.
Good. Now, do you bring any food with you to school? Do you bring any food with you to school? Yes.
Yes, I bring
some food with me
to school.
Now, Do you take this picture with you? Do you take this picture with you after the lesson? Do you take this picture with you after the lesson?
No.
No.
I don't take that picture with me after the lesson.
Now, why not?
Because it is mine.
Okay. What do you bring with you to school? What do you bring with you to school? I bring with me.
I bring my pen, my pencil, my books, and my bag to school.
Okay. Perfect. Now, students, read lesson 34 on page 190. Now, quite impossible. Quite impossible. The word quite has two meanings. Okay, completely or nearly completely, depending on the accent. Okay, if the accent is heavy, it means completely. If the accent is light, it means nearly completely. For example, the cinema was quite full. Okay, means that the cinema was completely full, whilst the cinema was quite full. Means that the cinema was not completely full, but nearly completely full. Okay, once again. So the word quite has two meanings, completely or nearly completely, depending on the accent. If the accent is heavy, it means completely. If the accent is light, it means nearly completely. For example, the cinema was quite full. Means that the cinema was completely full, whilst the cinema was quite full. Means that the cinema was not completely full, but nearly completely full. Now, what does the word quite mean? What does the word quite mean? The word quite means has two meanings.
Has two meanings.
Yes.
Completely or nearly completely.
Now, how do we know the difference between the two meanings? How do we know the difference between the two meanings? We know the difference between the two meanings by the accent.
By the accent.
Now, a heavy accent means
The heavy accent means completely, whilst the light accent means nearly completely.
Okay, what's the difference between these two sentences? What's the difference between these two sentences? The cinema was quite full, and the cinema was quite full. Okay, the first sentence. Okay, first sentence.
The first sentence means that the cinema was completely full. Whilst the second sentence means that the cinema was nearly completely full.
Okay, after a very large meal, is your stomach quite full or quite full? Okay, after a large meal, is your stomach quite full or quite full? After a meal,
my stomach is
after a very large meal,
okay. After a very large meal, my stomach is quite full.
Good. Do you speak English quite well? Do you speak English quite well?
Yes, I speak English quite well.
Do you go to the cinema quite often? Do you go to the cinema quite often? Yes?
Yes, I go to the cinema quite often.
Do you think that learning Chinese, for a non-Chinese person, is quite easy, quite difficult, or quite impossible?
I think...
Do you think that learning Chinese for a non-Chinese person is quite easy, quite difficult, or quite impossible?
Okay, I think
learning Chinese
for a non-Chinese person is quite impossible.
Okay, quite impossible. Now, pure, impure. Pure, impure. Is pure water bad for the body? Is pure water bad for the body?
No.
Pure water
isn't bad for the body, but it's good for the body.
Is the wine or food we buy in the shops always pure? Is the wine or food in the shops always pure? No.
No.
The wine or food? The wine or food?
The wine or food we buy in the shops
isn't always pure.
But sometimes it's pure and sometimes it's impure.
No. Promise then. Do you ever promise to give something to somebody and then not give it? Do you ever promise to give something to somebody and not give it?
Yes.
Yes, I sometimes promise to give something to somebody and then not give it. Now, do you always do what you promise to do? Do you always do what you promise to do?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, yes, I always promise.
Yes, I always promise
to do. I always do.
I always do what I promise to do.
Okay. Polite, impolite adult. Okay, polite, impolite adult. Are people always polite in the shops and streets? Are people always polite in the shops and streets?
No, people aren't always polite in the shops and streets.
But sometimes they're polite and sometimes they're impolite. Okay, are children generally more polite than adults? Are children generally more polite than adults? No.
No.
Children
aren't generally polite than adults.
More polite than adults.
More polite than adults.
But they're generally less.
Not.
They're generally less polite.
They're generally less polite.
Now help. Okay, help. If you can't answer a question during the lesson, who helps you to answer it? Okay, if you can't answer a question during the lesson, who helps you to answer it? If I can't answer a question, teacher during the lesson,
teacher helps me to answer it.
Do husbands in this country generally help their wives in the house? Do husbands in this country generally help their wives in the house?
Yes.
Yes. Husbands
in this country generally help their wives in the house.
Right. If you help me, do you think we can lift this table together? Okay, if you help me, do you think we can lift this table together?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I help you,
I
think we can lift this table together.
Common. Okay. Common. Which is the most common drink in this country besides water? Which is the most common drink in this country besides water?
Aguardiente is the most common drink in this country besides water.
Fire. Okay, fire. Do you have a fire at home in winter? Do you have a fire at home in winter?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, yes. I have a fire.
I have a fire at home in winter. During the winter.
In winter.
Or in winter.
During the winter. Okay. Broad. Which is the broadest? Broad. Which is the broadest street in your town or in your city? Okay. Which is the broadest street in your city?
I don't know.
Okay, say Septima.
Okay, Septima is the broadest street in the city. Okay, rich. Who is the richest person you know? Who is the richest person you know? My aunt.
My aunt. Aunt. Yeah.
Aunt Rita is
the richest person.
The richest person I know.
Okay. Poor. Name me one of the poorest countries in the world. Name me one of the poorest countries in the world. Haiti. Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world. That was a bad example because it is the poorest country in the world. Okay, story. Do you like reading war stories?
Yes, I like reading war stories.
Okay. So, end of lesson 40, book 2, stage 3.